Good evening and thank you for joining us. There could be some good news on the horizon as a possible short-term solution to repair the James Street swing bridge is expected in the next 2 weeks.
Officials with the City of Thunder Bay and the Fort William First Nation are feeling optimistic following a meeting with CN Rail today. The face-to-face took some time to arrange, and those in the room admit at times it was heated. Dennis Ward has the latest on the plan going forward.
Officials with CN Rail spent a little more than an hour behind closed doors with local officials discussing the future of the fire-damaged swing bridge. Mayor Keith Hobbs says the gloves came off at times and heated discussions could be heard through the walls at City Hall. When reporters were invited into the room, a commitment was announced to develop short-term solutions in the next 2 weeks.
We're going to ask our engineers if there's ways on a short-term basis to reopen the bridge as long as it can be done safely for all of Thunder Bay residents. And if that can be done, we will address those issues. We also want to look at the long term. I'll echo the mayor's comments about the fact that the bridge is more than 100 years old. So there's no doubt that at some point we're going to have to look at longer term solutions.
The city was very prepared for this meeting with engineers in the room who are said to have had a big impact on getting the commitment. CN and the city each had a lawyer present, but the mayor says there weren't legal discussions. Hobbs is very happy with how the get-together went.
We're hoping that our engineers and CN's engineers can come up with a short-term solution, get traffic moving. Again, it may look differently. It may look like just cars and trucks and pedestrian. We don't know how that's going to look yet, but bottom line is they're committed, and they've told us that. They've now said it publicly that they're committed to get that bridge open in the short term.
Chief Georgianne Morrisseau has been frustrated with the lack of action over the past 7 months to reopen the swing bridge, and she's concerned about the possibility of a report coming back in 2 weeks' time declaring it unsafe for vehicles.
I'd like to be confident, but by nature I'm generally a pessimist. But I'm optimistic that a solution will come forward. And again, I do feel confident in the fact that CN and the city and Fort William are going to be able to come up with some sort of options or resolution of how we can open this bridge. And again, I've seen the commitment from CN today.
One thing CN officials were not willing to talk about today was the cause of the swing bridge fire. Questions on the issue were met with a no comment. Dennis Ward, TBT News.
Some relief to the gridlock problem at the Thunder Bay Regional Hospital is set to arrive on Monday. That's when 26 alternate level of care patients will begin moving into new temporary beds set up in the Lakehead Psychiatric Hospital. The move, which comes with a $2.5 million price tag to the province, is part of Ontario's $14 million commitment to deal with the capacity issues at the regional. Phil Darlington has the details.
The waiting lists for long-term care facilities vary, but in the interim, those waiting need a place to stay and be looked after. Cue the Lakehead Psychiatric Hospital. It's been given a bit of a revamp to accommodate 26 people who are waiting to go to other homes. St. Joseph's CEO Tracy Buckler says the transitional care is temporary, but the clients will have their needs met.
We were able to do just a bit of a facelift on the unit to be able to allow for 26 clients to be here. And we were able to get new furniture, so there's new beds, there's new bedside tables, there's new chairs, there's all new furnishings to be able to brighten up the space. There's a lot of space here, and our clients should be quite comfortable while they're waiting for their choice of a long-term care home bed.
Long-term care involves more than just beds and basic needs. It requires access to professionals to help medically and personally, all of which is being looked after.
We have physician support who will be here on a regular basis. We have nursing staff that would include a team of registered nurses, registered practical nurses, and PSWs. And we also have an interprofessional care team, so we have occupational therapy, physiotherapy, therapeutic recreations.
Buckler says the construction for the new Center of Excellence for Integrated Senior Services is on schedule and on budget. She expects the first portion to be completed next year. Meanwhile, the LPH facility will be closed once a new mental health wing next to St. Joseph's Hospital is completed. Phil Darlington, TBT News.
Work to repair Thunder Bay's sewage treatment plant is still underway, a full 2 years after the May 2012 flood. The facility sustained extensive damage during the storm. Some of that is still being uncovered as the restoration continues. In the days after the flood, portions of the plant were filled with nearly 50 feet of water and debris. It took weeks to locate the breach in the facility. Repairs and the new installation of new equipment has been ongoing ever since. Infrastructure and Operations General Manager Dale Matson says so far roughly $25 million has been spent on the work.
We do believe that the bill may go as high as $30 million, and we have probably another 12 to 14 months of work that's required to bring the plant up to the standard that's expected for sewage treatment in Ontario.
One of the biggest improvements at the plant is a bypass channel that's to be commissioned next week. It will allow surplus water coming into the plant to flow directly into the river. In the case of a similar weather event, the overall financial toll to the city from the flood is expected to hit $44 million.
After years of planning, Thunder Bay's new cyclotron is scheduled to be installed this summer. The high-tech unit will produce medical isotopes used to diagnose cancer patients. The $10 million cyclotron will be located on the north side of the new medical services building beside the regional hospital. The director of cyclotron operations for the Thunder Bay Regional Research Institute says they've already started putting up walls for the radio pharmacy part of the project, and they'll soon begin building the thick walls for the cyclotron bunker. Michael Campbell says they couldn't get started until site plans were approved by the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission.
The actual construction on our piece of it just started this past March. We had to wait till we received our license to construct from the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission. But I've been working on this project for about 6 years now. It's been a long road, so I'm very excited to see it get to this point. So we're expecting the machine to actually be lowered into the vault in probably September. And it'll probably take about a couple of months to test all the systems to make sure everything's working properly.
Similar cyclotron projects are also underway in Saskatoon and Sherbrooke, Quebec. Campbell says the plan is to have a network of cyclotrons distributed evenly across the country so that if one goes down for repairs, the others can fill the void. These units will become especially important once the nuclear reactor in Chalk River, Ontario is shut down in 2016. The facility is currently one of the largest suppliers of medical isotopes.
Give us access to isotopes that can be delayed potentially by flight cancellations, but coming up it's also going to give us an opportunity to make things like technetium-99m, which is what we're currently getting from Chalk River. As you know, that facility is currently scheduled to be shut down in 2016, and it's one of the things that we're really hoping to do is to have a made-in-Canada solution to this shortage.
Campbell says the ability to create isotopes will not only be crucial for cancer patients in northwestern Ontario, but the entire country.
The provincial election is now less than 2 weeks away, and tonight we continue to profile the candidates in Thunder Bay Superior North. Joseph LeBlanc carries the banner for the Green Party of Ontario this time around. Rochelle Soufi reports.
Joseph LeBlanc is running as the Green Party candidate for Thunder Bay Superior North. He's currently working towards his PhD in forest sciences at Lakehead University. And he's also a local food advocate who says there needs to be more of a focus on that part of the region's economy.
About 2009, I've been involved in the food system here and working to address the issues of food insecurity in remote and rural First Nations, as well as providing viable economic opportunities for farmers and forest and freshwater food producers.
LeBlanc says he doesn't expect the Greens to form a government. But if he's elected and there's a minority government, there's a lot he could do for the riding.
To be the sole Green and in that way can introduce legislation that the other parties will have to vote on, right? And have the opportunity to collaborate in best for our region, right? And so really one or two Greens having a seat can hold the sway of power in a minority government, potentially avoid going to costly elections that people really, obviously are not that keen on having if we're going to end up with the same government we had before.
LeBlanc has 3 young boys and says he wants them to have the same opportunities as we do now. And although he admits winning this election will be an uphill battle, he sees the Greens as a party of the future.
I have 3 young children, and for me, if we see growth in the votes that the Greens get in this election and continue to see that growth to the point where when my children are my age, the Greens play a significant role in Northern Ontario and in Ontario as a whole. I'll consider that a success.
Rochelle Sufi, TBT News.
Next week, we'll profile the candidates in the Thunder Bay Atikokan riding.
For many bright young minds, today is officially the first day of the rest of their lives. Lakehead University's 2014 graduation ceremonies got underway today at the Community Auditorium. Mike Albanese was there.
Over 2,100 students will be conferred over the next week between the two Lakehead University campuses. Another year has passed and another crop of LU graduates is out the door and ready to take on the world.
You know what, after 4 years we put in our 100% effort and we're coming out with beautiful friends, a beautiful degree, and a wishful future. Lakehead was probably one of the best schools I've ever gone to, and it was just a great time. I'd recommend it to anyone.
The day's graduation held only students from the Northern Ontario School of Medicine and the Faculty of Health and Behavioral Science. The students this year received glowing remarks from the staff at LU. They have enjoyed watching them mature and are excited to see where they go from here.
You know, our students are wonderful. I think you'll always miss school to some degree. Going to school is about getting the degree, but it's also about maturing and becoming an adult and looking forward to future employment opportunities, etc. And I think they're really excited. It's a bit of a scary step, but it's an exciting step at the same time. And we've got some tremendous individuals graduating, and I know they're going to be successful.
Dean Laurie Livingston was right in thinking the graduates will miss things about school, mostly the camaraderie between the students during their stay.
Gonna miss not seeing a lot of friends that, spent 4 years together, for sure.
The people, for sure, yeah. You create all these bonds, but I mean, we're gonna have those bonds for the rest of our lives, so we'll be seeing those people. And we like to party. That too.
Partying aside, while these young minds progress through their future, they will accomplish many great things, much like Arnold Aberman, who is returning to school after many years to receive an honorary Doctor of Science for his role in medicine in the forming of NOSM.
It is a great honor. It is a recognition. I'm happy to accept it, whether I deserve it or not. It is a recognition of the role I played in creation of medical school. So it's a great honor. As an academic, getting an honorary degree, and they say it's the greatest honor a university can confer, so of course I'm honored.
The convocations will continue tomorrow and wrap up in Orillia on June 7th. Mike Albanese, TBT News.
Do you have old unwanted TVs, computers, or other electronics lying around but don't know how to properly dispose of them? EcoSuperior is willing to take them off your hands tomorrow for free. The environmental organization is collecting electronic waste Saturday in the parking lot of the Thunder Bay Casino to be recycled. Cell phones, video cameras, home theater equipment, and much more will be accepted. From 10 to 3, EcoSuperior Shannon Costigan says those items should never be thrown out.
A lot of electronics contain some materials such as lead and mercury that if they sit in our landfill can be hazardous to the environment or to human health. As well, a lot of the components can be recycled, so they can be recovered. The plastic components or the metal can be recovered and reused.
It's almost like a type of ore. So they're processed much in the way that a mineral would be processed. They're broken down and then, for example, the copper is extracted, the other types of metals are extracted, but that's done within a controlled and environmentally correct demanufacturing process.
Once you've dropped off those unwanted electronics, maybe if you've also got some old vehicles' tires to get rid of. Thunder Bay Auto Parts wraps up its week-long tire take-back on Saturday. It's part of a province-wide initiative to raise money for the Sunshine Foundation of Canada, a charity that helps make dreams come true for kids with severe physical disabilities and life-threatening illnesses.
We have had 2 successful dream lifts where children across Ontario have gone to Disney and had their dreams come true, and it just makes it all worth it.
More than 2,000 tires had already been collected as of this afternoon.
More than 300 works of art from 300 local high school students are now on display at the Thunder Bay Art Gallery. The annual Student Art Exhibition allows the young artists to showcase their work in a professional gallery for the very first time. 10 schools took part in this year's exhibition. The students worked closely with teachers to create their pieces. Their art was then judged to determine which were the best creations to showcase. A pair of Churchill students had multiple pieces accepted into the gallery. They say it's an honor to display their work in a professional setting.
Such an incredible forum for young kids for their first time usually
to get their work out there to the community.
It's incredible. It's so cool to be like recognized, you know, like in high school of all the pieces, and like I've made it in out of like, you know, the tons of hundreds of pieces that are in here.
I came onto the show last year too, and I came here and I was hoping maybe I'd get in this year. And yeah, so I'm really excited to see them and see their work too.
The exhibit opened this week. It runs until June 15th.
The City of Thunder Bay has seniors to thank for many contributions. So in honor of their work, the city is celebrating Seniors Month. It's the 30th anniversary of Seniors Month in the province, and what makes this year even more special for the city is that the World Health Organization has recognized Thunder Bay as being an age-friendly city. There are very few communities in Canada which are age-friendly, and Councillor Rebecca Johnson is very proud that the city has this affiliation.
Within that, we are looking at different aspects of health and safety, transportation issues, how people are safe in their communities, how they can be involved. The list goes on and on, recreation, etc. So there is within the pillars of the age-friendly initiative, we as an age-friendly community are working on those.
We have a lot to learn from our seniors, and I think our youth can really grasp a lot of knowledge when they interact and talk to seniors. So that's what I'm hoping to get out of the month for sure.
In addition, the city has planned a calendar full of events throughout the month of June to celebrate seniors and their contribution to Thunder Bay.
Turning to weather.